जयपुर वाया कोटा।
कृपया ध्यान आपो अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत.
Lucknow Junction.
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವವರೇ
Hyderabad to Punjab Express পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন. कृपया ध्यान दियो.
On a two-faced wicket at the Ekana Stadium in Lucknow, Lucknow had a very two-paced batting approach. Started off fairly well, set the foundation, but the wheels sort of fell off through the middle overs as well as towards the fag end of the innings. And at the end of their 20 overs, Lucknow managed 159 on the board for the loss of 8 wickets. Rahul back in form with 74 of 56 balls, but apart from him, no one really contributing. You're watching Cricbuzz Live. I'm Anubhav Jain. With me, I have Joy and Polly. I called Polly Nostradamus when we were doing Cricbuzz Combox. I'll happily pass over the title on to you. Congrats on winning the prediction game.
It's one of those things. You keep just throwing up a number. None of us have any idea how that pitch will play. In fact, Polly had a much better idea of how the pitch will play. So most of it is pure wild guessing. But it was fun to watch the end because, that over, if the last 2 overs, if a team just scores 21 of the last 3 overs and loses 4 wickets, what are the odds of that?
Yeah.
So, Polly should have won the contest had Lucknow batted even 50% of what they needed to in the last 2 overs.
Yeah. You talked about the pitch, difficult wicket from what it looked like in the first inning.
Yeah, we often touch on strike rates. And for example, Rahul, you see he gets that 70 or 50 balls, and that strike rate's actually okay. But because the nature of the pitch, he's striking at 130. You say, oh, well, is that enough? Isn't it enough? But the nature of the pitch, everyone who walked to the middle struggled. Krunal Pandya comes in, he's basically striking at a runner ball. Even Stoinis, I think Stoinis got 15 of whatever many deliveries he did. He hit 2 sixes. So in 2 deliveries, he got 12, and in the other 8, he only basically got 2 or 3 runs. So it's not an easy pitch. I think it is a little bit too paced, and I think it'll probably be better batting second time round, maybe a bit of dew, maybe the extra roll will flatten it out a bit. But they'll be disappointed with that because it's kind of, if you just knock it around, if Stoinis is there for another 3 overs, not playing too many big shots, you post 160, 170, even 175, 180. So they'll be disappointed having someone bat for as long as Rahul did. The others didn't really play their part around him.
Yeah, and in case, in the event that someone actually did give him company, then they could have posted a much higher total. But speaking of Rahul, 70-odd back amongst the runs. We spoke about him during a pre-match Cricbuzz live show, and both of you all said that, it's only a matter of time before he hits form again. Now reached 4,000 IPL runs, the fastest to get there, 105 innings. Class is permanent, class with the KL.
Absolutely, and class is permanent. He bats at the right place for this format. At the top, you're going to get runs, whatever runs are scored. If you see the highest scores in the IPL, always batsmen 1, 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Because they are their maximum opportunities. He took advantage of it today, and he played a very responsible innings because, as you said, the pitch didn't really play. Everyone else around him was mistiming. And the moment he saw that, he just cut out a lot of shots. In fact, one of the things that you'll see is that the guys who got out, Curran got out for going for a first ball 6. Stoinis got out again, he got out on the edge, but if you can clear, but not everyone could clear. And this is exactly the point. How many fielders, Shah Rukh Khan took 2 brilliant catches in the deep. Again, just trying to clear the field and not getting enough. And that also tells you a little bit about the pitch, that it seems to be playing okay. You seem to be going through the shot, but you're just mistiming it that much to give the field, to bring in the fielders in the boundary into play.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that happened. 2 catches almost identical from Shah Rukh Khan in the boundary.
And a third one that he took as well, that Skyer, that went really high. Yeah. Nicholas Pooran's catch, 2 back-to-back wickets that Kagiso Rabada took. And you could say that probably was one of the turning points, one of the pivotal moments in that innings when Kagiso Rabada had Krunal Pandya as well as Nicholas Pooran out in 2 balls.
Yeah, Krunal was there for some time, didn't manage to get going. But Pooran, if he had got going, he's one of those guys who can be very destructive. So that's the effect. KG gets his 100 wickets, and that's the reason why. It's not always caught slip or LBW or clean bowled, but it's just that extra pace, extra bounce, bit of X factor he brings in that often creates opportunities for him to pick up.
And Punjab's spinners were very effective as well. Punjab giving Lucknow a taste of their own medicine. So far, up until this match, the spinners had struggled, but the first couple of wickets that fell, Sikandar Raza, picked up one of them. Harpreet picked up another. So they will be pleased with how the spinners performed in this match.
Yeah, I think they'll be pleased by the way the bowlers overall performed.
Every single one. None of them going for more than 10 runs per
Yeah,
over.
even Matthew Short, if you see up front,
Yeah.
he bowled the first over, bowled a couple of overs, got them in. It was important at that point that Lucknow does not get off to a flying start.
Yeah.
So I think they did their job, and I think it's important to see here, Rabada, that crucial middle wickets are that really changed the game. Arshdeep also comes back and bowls a very fine second last over. So everyone actually comes to the party. Even Sam Curran came to the party. I thought he used his bowlers well. I thought he didn't allow anyone else to settle. And I think this is overall a very, very decent performance. They took their chances. They took their catches. What is a pretty long batting lineup.
Yeah.
They managed to restrict to 157, 158. That's really, really good.
Yeah. You said, you thought he used his bowlers well. 7 bowlers utilized by Sam Curran in total. Anything that stood out for you when you saw his captaincy? I know you were mentioning to me in the green room that no complaints. It's been so far so smooth, but anything particular that stood out?
Yeah, I think he's managed them well. I mean, the fact that they've used the 4 spinning options, that they've got them in at different times, I think everything's good. A captaincy performance, you often judge when you're part of it, like when you're in the change room or you're on the field, you get to see what he does or doesn't do. But it hasn't affected his performance. In fact, it's brought the best out of Sam Curran. That's his best bowling for the tournament so far. It's 3 for 31. So a good outing from him. And the fact that he's got them to only get 158. I mean, if his guys bat properly, they should get this. But we said that in the last game.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen. So it might be a little bit more challenging. And we'll see by the nature of the surface the second time around.
Absolutely. We'll see what happens in the second innings. When it comes to the impact subs, we saw Krishnappa Gautam come onto the field. We still don't know who the impact sub's going to be for Punjab, but we reckon Simran Singh.
I think it's Simran.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll just use an extra batsman out here. This is a relatively inexperienced Punjab batting side.
Yeah.
Lots of no Shikhar there, no Liam Livingston there. They're missing lots of players. But I still think, I mean, their Indian players will really have to bat well. And to be honest with you, Sikandar Raza has to show the kind of form that has made him such a phenomenal player in international cricket.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been scoring runs all over the place in leagues around the world. They've taken him for a particular reason because he's a very useful player and he's still not given them enough. He's given them a little bit with the ball today. Maybe that will give him confidence. I feel Sikandar Raza is a key player for them because this is a pitch which is an experienced player will play better on a pitch like this because he's seen conditions like this around the world. And therefore, with Shikhar Dhawan not being there, if you see the rest of the batting order is relatively inexperienced. He needs to come to the party.
Right, and he's going to be a massive miss, right, Paulie? Because so far he's been amongst the runs, but there haven't been too many other players who've been supporting him, especially, based upon what we saw in that game against Hyderabad, the 99 not out when the rest of the team completely crumbled. And so even though it's not such a high total, I think Lucknow will be optimistic because someone like a Shikhar Dhawan is not featuring in this contest.
Yeah, I suppose the fact that they only have to chase that small total gives the other guys time to maybe chew up a few deliveries, get themselves in and then look to play. But it's a huge miss. I mean, those facts and figures don't lie to you. He has been the one standout in the top 4. And when you take his name away and you look at the team list, it's like, whoa, where's the runs coming from? Sikandar Raza, yes, he's an international cricketer, but how much experience, how much pressure is he often under? And I think it's going to be a big ask for them. I mean, if you say to Lucknow, listen, this is the one team where you can really put them under. Look at those names. Matthew Short, no international cricket for him. It is one of those things where as a coaching staff you go and say, listen, okay, we didn't get the total we after, but have a look at that batting lineup. You bowl properly. You put your bodies on line. You take your half chances. You've got a chance of winning this still.
Absolutely. And Matthew Short did have a good start in the last match, so that's going to be some good news.
He's had a sensational BBL, but those surfaces are very different from this. So he's really got to play out of the skin. But I also want to tell you the story of somebody like a Harpreet Singh Bhatia.
Yeah.
I know Harpreet Singh Bhatia because he is in the under-19 team in 2010 and joined KKR along with Mandeep, who's now with KKR. And he played in 2010. Then 2012 was his last IPL game. So think, 21-year-old kid, done it, but just couldn't make it out there. So many years later, so he's been in and out of the squads, never got a chance to play again.
Yeah.
And so many years later, 11 years after he's played his last match, he's coming out there to bat.
Yeah.
So can you imagine what it must be like, that journey? He used to play from Madhya Pradesh, he moved to Chhattisgarh, kept practicing, didn't give up the dream of saying, I'm going to be an IPL player. So
Yeah.
amazing. I hope he goes well, but you know.
So he gets selected. So has he had a good domestic setup
He's had a really
this last season?
very good season. He's had a good season. He's had a good season and he's had a good SMAT, Syed Mustaq Ali tournament as well. So, you know, the T20 tournament.
And I think the highest duration between two successive IPL games as well. 3981 days, if I remember correctly, but close to 4,000 days, which is absolutely staggering. Yeah.
Yeah, who was it? We saw a graphic the other day. It was Wayne Parnell was second, I think.
Yeah, Wayne Parnell
I
came
think
back
an
after.
Australian, was it? Matthew Wade might have been a bit above him.
Yeah, I
So
think Matthew Wade was
This will be a
above.
record then.
Yeah.
This
time
is probably
between-
a record.
it
This
is,
probably
it
a
is.
record, yeah.
Massively so.
Exactly. By a distance, if you're Punjab coming out to bat, inexperienced lineup, especially at the top, you're on the coaching staff, in the dugout, what do you tell those players? How do you approach the innings? Because it's tricky surface and it's a tricky total as well. You know, one of those middling totals, neither too high nor too low. So you might be a bit confused about how you approach such a score.
I think you can give yourself a bit of time. You can, as I say, chew up a few balls. You can look at the delivery, see what they're going to do, and then try and play accordingly. But back yourself, you know, still have that belief. Don't get caught into your shell, and that you're right. You've got the team right behind you. I think that's also nice to know. And you know, this could be the one-off opportunity. Shika comes back in the next game, you might not get another hit. So yeah, come on. This is your chance you've been dreaming of.
And
go live the dream.
Absolutely. Go live the dream. And someone who's definitely going to be backing himself in the Lucknow camp is going to be Mark Wood, especially that after that fifer that he picked up in the first match, 5 for 14. He was someone who last played in the IPL. In fact, in 2018, when he played a solitary game for Chennai. And since then, it's his first ever IPL season. But he's come out very strongly this season.
Very strong. And look, Mark Wood, it's always been a question of whether he's free of injury or not. Because if he's injury-free, he's one of the fastest bowlers in the world. He's one of the genuine enforcers in world cricket. And he'll be looking at exactly this batting lineup and salivating. Yeah. Because other than his teammates Sam Curran and Sikandar Raza, there's very little experience, international experience in the top 6. So he's going to look at this and say, you know what, I can enforce on this lineup. And I think that will be one of the challenges they face. The other thing is that somebody like a Mark Wood, if they knock over a couple and, you know, without Mark Wood, and then he comes into relatively, you know, the lower order batsman, somebody of his pace can be an absolute terror out there. So yeah, I think he's going to be a huge weapon. But it will be really interesting to see how the opening batsmen of Punjab approach this big one.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot will depend upon, you know, how good Mark Wood looks as well. I remember reading an interview of his and he talked about the fact that when he made his IPL debut in 2018, played that one game for Chennai, went for 51 runs in 4 overs, wicketless. He said he wasn't quite prepared for the IPL back then. But now, you know, 4 years hence, or 5 years hence, he's clearly well prepared for this tournament.
Yeah, I think also it might have been the game in Chennai, which is the ideal wicket for him. There's a couple of other ones you'd rather be bowling on. So, yeah, I think also he's now a World Cup winner. You know, he's obviously played a lot of cricket for England over this time. So he'll definitely be better prepared. 4 years as a fast bowler is a massive amount. And also the injuries he's been through, he's got to understand his body, what he can or can't do.
Yeah.
And I think the way he started, he's got to have a lot of confidence coming in here, isn't he? So, yeah, let's see how he can go. And it is like you know, like in Africa, you got the lions, they prowl around and they look for the weakest link. As a fast bowler, you prowl around, you think, okay, these youngsters, this is my opportunity to really dominate. And I think he'll be keen to do that.
And I think someone else is going to be prowling around, albeit as a spinner, Ravi Bishnoi. Again, prolific form this season.
Prolific form this season. He knows this wicket well. To have this as his home wicket, he'll do really well. I mean, he started with 6 wickets, but, you know, he still has so many games to play on this surface, some in Chennai. So, you know, lots of nice services waiting for him when he's going to get out of here. And I think he's just reaching his peak as a bowler.
Yeah.
This format really suits him, the shorter format, the T20 format suits him. And I think, again, he'll be a key bowler out here. I think because he, along with Kunal Pandya, will have to control this innings in the middle if the Punjab openers go well.
Absolutely.
And that will be interesting. That battle will be also a very, very interesting battle out here.
Absolutely. And, you know, speaking of Ravi Bishnoi, Paulie, I don't know if you feel the same way, but every time I watch him bowl, I can just tell he's someone who's putting everything that he's got, every ounce of energy, giving his 120% day in and day out. And you can tell that, you know, he's reaping the rewards of all the efforts that he's putting in.
Yeah, definitely the word energy is key. You know, even the way he approaches the crease, the way he gets through his action. I've always enjoyed him. You know, probably hasn't had an extended spell at some of the other places that he's played. but at some stage he's put in a good enough performance to get him into the Indian side.
Yeah.
So he's got that potential. I think he's getting a little bit more control the older he gets. And I think that's key with his variations that he's got.
Yeah, and let's see what he's like against the Punjab batsman today. And speaking of the Punjab batsman, we can confirm that Prab Simran has walked in. Rahul Chahar is the one who leaves the field. Given the fact that, the batsmen are out, your power play predictions, Joy.
Look, I think this is an interesting wicket. I'm going to really lowball this. I'm going to go, because this is inexperience versus a pretty decent bowling attack. I'm going to go for 39.
39. I just marvel at all the calculations that goes on, inside their head before he spits out the 39 number. I just love it. I should take notes here.
I think two inexperienced guys, as you say, and I don't think it's easiest surface to get going on. You said 39?
Yep.
I'll go 43.
39, 43, I go higher, 49, but please don't listen to me. Listen to these two Nostradamuses right here. Thank you so much for having joined us for Cricbuzz Live. A big thank you to Joy and Polly as well. And we'll see you at the end of the 10-over mark with Cricbuzz Combox. Until then, take care. Cheers.
Jaipur via Kota.
कृपया ध्यान आपको अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವ ರೈಲು
Hyderabad Punjab Express
পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন। कृपया ध्यान दें